Did you go home that night, Miss Walton?
Yes, after answering all the questions that the police officers had for me, they kindly gave me a ride home.
Now, Miss Hamilton, Miss Walton, did you shoot Wade Hamilton that night?
Absolutely not. It was awful. When I went home, the first thing I saw on the television was BNN accusing me of shooting someone. I couldn't believe it. My children were there. They were sitting in front of the television. How did my kids get over that?
Now, how has this story affected your life?
Objection.
Which basis?
This is not relevant because this is a repeated case and we're not here to talk about damages.
We're not offering specific monetary damages that need to be rewarded. We're just discussing general damages of how the story affected Miss Walton's life.
Is that your response?
Yeah, that it's a repeated case and we're not here to talk about damages.
Make me an offer of proof. What kind of damages are you listed from this witness?
She will testify that her children or community look at her in a different light now.
Sustained.
Now, Ms. Walton, did your children ask you questions when you walked into the house that evening about the story?
Like I said, when I walked into the house, they were sitting on the floor with my husband watching the news when BNN accused me of this horrible thing. He just looked at me and asked, "Mommy, did you do it?" It was awful.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Yes, Josh. Now, both your grandfather and your father were governors in the city of Midlands, correct?
Yes, I'm very proud to say that it's like Walton tradition.
And this made you a paparazzi favorite.
One of the reasons, you know how they love those Bush girls.
You said that you covered every tabloid and gossip magazine on the news.
I covered a fair amount of them, yes.
So that's a yes?
Back in my day, I was a hottie. I couldn't help it.
And now, the paparazzi, they got too pushy, didn't they?
Oh, they were awful. They would follow me everywhere. I swear, I'd be walking down the street to go get milk, and they would feel the need to come up behind me.
That's a yes to my question.
Oh yeah, they were everywhere. They were pushy little son of a guns.
And when they got pushy, you pushed back.
Occasionally, you know, when I was young, I mean, my daddy always told me the only difference between me and a pit bull is a little bit of lipstick.
And this resulted in 3 assault charges.
Oh, one of them was dismissed, but yes, I a total of 3.
And one of those assault charges involved you throwing a brick at someone's car.
Yes, that's correct. I'm really ashamed to say it. It was a stupid mistake when I was younger.
And that was because you made a bad comment about your father.
Oh, it was awful. The things he said were terrible.
Okay. I'd like to talk to you about the night of September 24th, 2006. You were at a gun control debate.
That's correct, yes. I was debating Professor Hamilton.
And you are against gun control. You are against gun control.
I believe in a person's Second Amendment right to bear arms to protect themselves.
So that's yes to my question.
I'm against infringements on gun control. Or I'm against infringements on the Second Amendment rights.
But Mr. Lane Hamilton is for gun control.
Yes, that's correct.
And after the debate, you answered questions by various different reporters.
Oh yeah, several, almost all of the news networks were there to ask me questions.
And after you answered questions, you went to your car.
That's correct. I was leaving the debate.
But right before you got into your car, you heard yelling.
I did. Lane Hamilton was coming out of the Midland Civic Center acting absolutely crazy.
So this yelling came from Mr. Lane Hamilton.
He was the only other person out there. I was looking at Casey at the time.
Did you observe him as being angry?
That's correct, yes.
And as you said before, he was a big man.
He was much bigger than I was, yes.
But you still decided you needed to approach him.
I wanted to make sure he was all right. He was visibly upset and angry. Hence the reason I took out my firearm to protect myself, just in case.
But right before you approached him, he made a comment about your father, didn't he?
A little bit before, he said something about my father as a previous governorship in Midlands.
So that's a yes?
Yes, he made a that.
But right before you approached him, you grabbed your loaded gun.
My gun was in the car with me. I wasn't going to approach a giant screaming man without something to protect myself. I'm only 5'2".
Moments after you decided to protect yourself, Lady Hamilton was dead.
Well, I had the gun. It was on the, like I said, it was on the trunk of the car, and then took it and he killed himself. So he died, yeah.
So let's get to my question.
Yes, Lane was dead.
Okay, and then you went to the police station.
Yes, I wanted to be able to give them as much information about the scene as possible. I was the only person who saw it.
And when you got home, you saw a broadcast.
That's correct. CNN was broadcasting it.
And you are claiming that that broadcast is the reason why you lost the election.
I assume that murder would pretty much lose any election for anyone. Pretty detrimental, even just the accusation.
But did BNN ever say the words, Drew Walton killed Lane Hamilton?
No, I thought it was bad enough that they said all the signs point to that Drew Walton killed Professor Hamilton.
I'm sorry, maybe it wasn't clear. Did they ever say Drew Walton killed Lane Hamilton?
They put a few words in front of it, but no, they didn't say that in and of itself. They had an entire broadcast that pretty much made it seem that way instead.
So that's a no to my question. They never said that.
I believe I just said that they did.
They never said Drew Walton killed Lane Hamilton?
They said it within the transcript. They said all signs point to Drew Walton killed Lane Hamilton.
Did they ever say those words that I said?
Look, I don't know what the sentence structure of it was, but I don't think they said that alone, maybe.
Okay. So isn't it also true that your best advisors were involved in embezzlement?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
Today we're here for a case about defamation, and she's trying to say that the broadcast was the reason why she lost her election, but we're trying to bring in other information that could have made her lose the election.
This is within the scope of your direct.
That's not a mock trial rule.
Yeah.
I said that once and wasn't.
My fault. Overruled.
So some of your greatest advisors were involved in embezzlement.
Oh, it was awful. When I found out, I felt so betrayed. But yes, a few of my advisors embezzled some of my money. I immediately fired them. It was a terrible, terrible situation for me to be in.
And the very next day after BNN made their broadcast, they retracted the statements.
The next day, when it was ruled that Lane Hamilton did in fact commit suicide and found out their broadcast was wrong, yes, they retracted the statement. Fortunately, by then it was already too late.
Your Honor, move to strike everything after yes, as the witness is non-responsive.
Stricken.
And this retraction stated that Drew Walton, all signs did not point to Drew Walton.
It said that new information had been found in that Lane Hamilton had been ruled to commit suicide.
Okay, so it said new information had been found,
That's correct.
and your election was not until November 7th, wasn't it?
November 7th, that's correct. About 2 months, yeah. About a month and a half after the alleged, after the allegation.
So you had 6 weeks to campaign after the retraction was filed.
Yes, unfortunately, who knows how many people saw the retraction.
Permission to strike the everything after yes as non-responsive.
Stricken.
If you no further